Bruce Springsteen had been making music about the working class on his last three albums, but when Darkness on the Edge of Town came out, that theme was at the forefront for maybe the first time. Now, looking back at Bruce's catalog in 2025, obviously that theme would continue with most notably Born in the USA, but I think Darkness captured a certain feeling that no other Bruce album has since. There's a feeling of escapism on the record, while you do get the hopeless, depressing songs like Factory, Streets of Fire, and Racing in the Street. Songs like Badlands, The Promised Land, and the title track offer a sense of hope for wanting to break free of these Badlands. There's a defiance to this album, almost a punk rock feeling that might be attributed to what Bruce was dealing with at the time of making this record. Bruce had sued his manager for not letting him work with certain producers, then his manager, sued him right back. And this situation would take place over a year and a half, so maybe that's why Bruce can sound so angry on some of these songs. Even the instrumentals have an aggressive feeling on songs like Adam Raised a Cain or Prove It All Night. Let's dive deep into my favorite Bruce Springsteen album, Darkness on the Edge of Town, and how Bruce searches for the true promised land on this record. Badlands, the opening track, provides us with the anthem for the album. The record sees some pretty dark moments, but I think Badlands serves as hope throughout the record. Yes, lyrically it's doing that, but also instrumentally it has an energetic feeling and provides that sense of hope through the piano and drums. Bruce even says, "I believe in the hope and I pray that someday it may raise me above these badlands." And that one line right there could probably perfectly sum up the rest of the album. That's the internal conflict that Bruce faces throughout this whole record. Then Adam Raised the Cain gives us more of that energy with probably the most punk rock song on the record. It also introduces a big theme on this album, father and son relationship. While this is probably the only time it's obviously presented to us, other songs take the perspective of Bruce's father. We also see Bruce tackle religion for the only time on this record. He's been baptized, but instead of being happy, he's angry. And while that is obviously about religion, it to me can be a metaphor for life and represents a big theme on this album. You follow tradition, follow in the footsteps of your parents and their parents, which you're told is what your purpose in life is, but you're not happy. You're actually angry and depressed at the life you're living. Something in the Night continues the anger, with Bruce yelling as the instrumental builds up, then comes crashing down into a soft and jazzy groove. Like I mentioned earlier, this anger from Bruce could stem from the lawsuit he was going through, and some speculate this song is actually a metaphor for that lawsuit. But either way, it perfectly fits in the album with having the desire to drive and never come back. That theme of leaving these badlands. But you're stuck working a job you don't like and living with regret. After that, Candy's Room takes a different perspective than what we've seen on the record, but it still aligns perfectly with the themes. This new perspective of a prostitute, but there's a sadness in her face. Again, tying in not being satisfied with the life you're living, actually being angry with the life you're living. But this new character offers new advice. She says to embrace the darkness, which is something we haven't seen on the album. And the word darkness is mentioned pretty much on every song on this album, obviously referencing the title of the album, Darkness on the Edge of Town, but I think this could represent the internal conflict Bruce is going through. He's getting pulled towards the darkness on the edge of the town throughout this record. Racing in the Street is probably the most depressing song on the album, providing again a new perspective while also adding to the themes of the album. A man trying to run away from his problems and his mundane life. He can only get his thrills from racing cars at night in hopes of forgetting all of his other obligations. This song touches on the idea that the vehicle, the machine, is more holy than God or religion. The machine is a way to cleanse the soul and feel alive. This song perfectly shows the bad side of escapism, which is becoming more and more clear in the modern age. People being so let down by their life, they have to turn to drugs, sex, porn, and now in the modern age, social media. We also see in this song the character's wife sitting on her parents' porch, which represents the dangers of nostalgia. Sitting on the porch brings her happiness because it reminds her of her childhood, which might have been the last time she was truly happy. After Racing in the Street, the song The Promised Land gives our narrator some confidence back, but the anger is still there. Our character, again, imagines a life away from his own, the promised land. There is definitely a feeling of growing up on this song and the album, and Mr. I Ain't a Boy, No, I'm a Man perfectly sums that up. While our protagonist isn't satisfied with his life, he wants to prove that he can make a new one for himself. He even offers a warning to others in his situation to take a chance and head for the promised land or suffer through the same existential crisis that he's been going through on the whole album. He compares it to a twister to signify the impact it will have on them. Factory sees Bruce take the perspective of his father, who has fallen to all the themes on this album. It highlights the struggles of many people in the working class and how they are treated in the factory. It also showcases how this working life can affect your family. Streets of Fire sees the pessimistic view return. Bruce raises the question, is there actually a promised land to go to? Springsteen has said the message he was trying to convey in this song is success requires sacrifice. Maybe these characters are stuck in this life they hate because they haven't sacrificed. The question raised earlier is answered in this song. Is there a promised land? Well, yes, but you have to prove it to get there. There are many things that the protagonist could be working hard for: his woman, his money, and the life he wants to escape. Prove It All Night serves as a climax to this story. In my opinion, the energy of this song showcases all the pessimistic narratives on this album being brought down and thrown away. There's hope.
The late 70s when that record came out, top films of the day was like Taxi Driver. You know, Mean Streets had come out. I think Marty Scorsese said the artist's job is you're trying to get the audience to care about your obsessions. The things that you think are more important and more vital and more essential than anything else in the world. My job is to write something that makes you find yourself in those things and you feel that way.
The title track, Darkness on the Edge of Town, wraps all the themes together, referencing all the different characters he's been playing on the album, summarizing all the conflicts he's been facing. But Bruce says working hard can result in finding the promised land. You'll never beat insecurity and you may never find full fulfillment, but you can try. Try to rise up against the society that's holding you down. Fight the darkness on the edge of town. Darkness on the Edge of Town is a timeless album in my opinion. Actually, a lot of the themes regarding escapism and the search for meaning are probably more timely than ever. This album serves to find the American dream, which could be perceived as a lie to some or as hope to others. We see a human experience throughout this album, feeling lost and then finding hope. Yes, this album can be depressing at times. If you listen all the way through, it's actually quite motivational all the way through. I think Bruce was trying to communicate that sense of hope for the future. And overall, this is my favorite Bruce album, and I think most people can connect with a lot of the themes on this album. The punk rock and aggressive feeling add for such a nice listen as well, which I don't think this is Bruce at his peak musically or writing. It's, in my opinion, his best put together album. So yes, Darkness on the Edge of Town is my favorite Bruce Springsteen album. I have it on vinyl right here. Let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite Springsteen album? I'm actually thinking about doing a Nebraska deep dive, given that there's a movie coming out about that album. I thought it would be timely, so maybe when that gets announced, I'll do a deep dive on that album. So stay tuned to the channel for that if you're a Springsteen fan. And let me know in the comments down below, what's your favorite Springsteen album? What's your favorite song from Darkness on the Edge of Town? Like, subscribe, and leave that comment.